this big discussion, this big conversation about what is trauma-informed care. And something that was really interested, he said, each agency, each institution sort of defines it themselves. There's no universal language to describe it. And I was thinking, I was like, man, that's kind of like the buzzword now in mental health, trauma-informed care. So what really is that? What really is that? And for me, I define it as, instead of saying what's wrong with a person, what has happened to that person to lead them to where they're at. And so when I'm thinking about Donald Trump and I'm thinking about politics and I'm thinking about agencies and, you know, patterns that exist, we look at Black people. How did they get, what happened to them for them to get to where they're at? So what happened to Trump? You tell me, Dr. J, what has happened to Trump to get him where he's at? Not presidency, but emotional. Come on, Dr. J, let us know. What has happened to Trump?
How do I even know? How do I know that?
You're Dr. J. I'm setting you up for the layup. Go ahead, man.
Oh, my God, dude. No. Actually,
it's just speculation. It's just speculation.
Really? Okay. First of all, break it down, because I think this whole idea of trauma-informed care is something that's at the forefront, but it's not really widely known at all.
No one really talks about it. It's a buzzword. It's a metaphor to describe something that they really don't have nothing about, and everybody catch on. Just like Make America Great Again, trauma-informed care. It's just a slogan, just a saying. Let's talk about it.
So break that down, because I don't think most people know it. Like,
okay,
for you at your job, because you do some really interesting work every day. How does that look? How does that look on a personal level?
Yeah, so many of you might not know, but I'm a child and family therapist at a child trauma center, working with kids with severe trauma. And to me, what trauma-informed care is, entering into that child's world, entering that child's worldview, understanding his perspective on trauma, because as we know, it's not the trauma itself that causes trauma, but it's the experience of trauma that causes trauma. So I need to enter into this kid's world, understand how he perceives the world around him, and hey, sometimes I'm crawling around on the floor as a cat because that's what the kid's worldview is, right? But in there, I'm getting a lot of information about his perceptions of the world around him and how he feels safe or not safe in this world. And as a therapist, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use that information to inform my treatment to help him out of the pattern of stuckness that he's in based on his trauma. So that's what trauma-informed care is to me in my language. And so that's the same way I look at Trump. There you go. Back at you.
So let me, because what you're saying, it reminds me of, you probably heard this story when we was in our class, right? Of the poop kid story.
Yep,
remember this story?
Yep. I'm listening.
Yeah. So basically, one of our teachers had a client who was in a foster home, and every day he'd come inside and cover himself in his own poop, right?
They do it
and spit and yell and scream. And this was going on for like months, and nobody knew why he was doing it. So he goes in there, sits down with the kid, starts talking to people, find out that the kid is a smaller kid and he's being abused by other kids in the foster home. And what is happening is, when he smears poop on himself, no other kid wants to touch him, no other kid wants to talk to him. They finally leave him alone.
So let me ask you this real quick. As a staff in a group home, how might I perceive his behavior if I'm not traumally informed?
First of all, you're going to think that he's crazy, right? Like, this kid is mad crazy.
Right?
You're going to think that he's got some sort of pathology, right? That he's got some sort of problem that's wrong.
Maladaptive behavior.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's maladaptive, right? Because it don't make sense. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure our viewers is driving with us. So go ahead, finish. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, my friend.
But
Dr. J,
when you take that trauma-informed care, and this is what I'm assuming that you're saying, you take that trauma-informed care. Okay, how does this make sense in context? How is what he's doing a survival mechanism in this situation?
Are you talking about the brain here, Jordan? That's a later conversation. Survival mechanisms. I like it. How is it a survival mechanism?
And so for this kid, right, it keeps him safe. Keeps people away, because people are the ones who hurt him the most, right?
Right.
And so like and then once you get into that and validate that, then things are able to open up and like shift.
So one thing I know about children, and one thing I know about when they need control, the one thing they do have control over is their bodily functions, right? When they eat, when they what they put in their mouths, what they put in other orifices, right? That's what they have control over. So, to the best of this child's ability that you were describing to take control, he used what he had at his disposal that he had control over, smeared poop on himself to keep the big bad people away.
Right.
That's coping to me. I mean, it might not look right to some, but hey, I know a lot of things don't look right to others. If this kid can keep safe by spreading poop on them, then hey, why not? Maybe there's other ways, but hey, that's why therapy and that's why we have trauma-informed care.
Right. Right. So, man, so then how do you apply that to what's going on just in the country now?
I mean, I feel like on one hand, for me, I have to have trauma-informed care about those advocates who are fighting hard, but I also have to have trauma-informed care and a trauma-informed approach towards the people they're fighting against. Because guess what? As I do that, I approach both of their worlds. I can really understand a full picture of the processes or the emotional atmosphere which is keeping them at wit's end, polarized, right? So what has happened to Trump to lead him to where he's at? What has happened to these people who are fighting against Trump to keep them where they're at? And is there some sort of shared safety mechanism underneath that we can connect on and build on? And then we can start seeing Trump is not so different. Trump is hurting differently, but he's not so different.
Well, he's hurting differently only because he has more power than everybody else, really.
Yeah.
Right? Like if he was a guy who was in his basement just, I don't know.
On his computer, putting videos out?
Yeah, like you know what I mean? It wouldn't be like he's got probably the most powerful nation of all time at his he's trying to put it at his disposal, doing what he wants with it.
Okay, and so hold on real quick.
Let me ask you something.
Real quick. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I just feel like, so I was watching this video and I got really sad today.
Okay.
Because I came to the realization that most of the problems we have in society, we have answers for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean,